You're listening to The Dating Den with dating and relationship badass and best-selling author Marni Batista. Every week, you'll get the raw truth from top experts and real people on the important dating, sex, and relationship issues you want to know about. So if you're ready for true talk that's authentic and unfiltered, and you're not afraid to be called out on your stuff, then you're ready for what's next.
The Dating Den, episode 75, Coaching Erin. I broke up with my boyfriend. Did I do the right thing? Ladies, welcome into the Dating Den. It's really funny because, or maybe not funny, but I'm in the den and just like so nearby, my entire kitchen is getting demolished and it's ready for a renovation. And so it's perfect that I have Erin on today, who just demolished her relationship and is looking for a renovation. So, and it's really funny, Erin, because I was sitting here thinking about what it means to be decisive. And I was like, once you decide you're going to do something in your house, right? And they start to destroy your shit, like that's decisive, right? Like I have to live with that. And then I walked downstairs and I saw they took all the cabinets out. And I was like, maybe these cabinets weren't that bad. Maybe I should have kept these cabinets. And it's hilarious because you literally just broke up with your boyfriend and you were decisive. And now you're like, maybe I should have kept that cabinet.
Exactly.
And that's what happens. It doesn't matter whether it's your kitchen or your love life, right? It's like a normal thing where we feel really confident and decisive. And then there's just fear and uncertainty. So I just think it's so awesome that you're going to share your story with us. We're going to work through it. And I think that for those who are listening, whether it's a decision that you've made to move or to take a new job or to break up with someone or to give someone a second chance, we all have to make decisions. We all have to be able to figure out how we resource inside to acknowledge the pain of change and to move on from it in the healthiest way so that we can actually learn and grow from it. So thank you for being here for me while I go through my own renovation. I think this is going to be great for both of us. So welcome to the Den. So tell us just like the Twitter version of like, because you and I were talking and I was like, oh, you don't know whether to break up your boyfriend. You're like, actually, Marni, the shit hit the fan. So so give us like the 2-minute update. What's going on for you?
Okay. So yes, I dated a very sweet and kind and loving man for a year and a half. But there were some differences I felt in our values and how we approached life, which I was, open to just going along and, seeing like, how does this work out for us? But I also really wanted to be intentional about how we were moving forward. I wanted to just talk about the things that I was feeling and thinking, and I wanted him to do the same with me. But he just was unable and unwilling to share. He wanted us to sort of stay in this place of just dating and enjoying each other. And he didn't understand why I felt like I wanted to go to the next level. I wanted to go deeper. I wanted to put things out on the table. And finally, I was just becoming frustrated. I felt like I was having to play small in order to keep the relationship. And I knew I had to decide between staying true to myself or staying in the relationship. And so I chose to stay true to myself.
So, and I love the way you said that. If I stayed in it, I was going to play small. What did that mean to you? What were you doing that felt small and inauthentic?
I felt like I was editing myself a lot. I felt like I was wanting to talk about possibilities for the future, but I knew his responses in the past had been, to either stonewall me or be negative. So I was editing myself and I was keeping these things in and I was like saying them to my friends. And I was like, I'm in a relationship. I should be able to say these things to him. And I don't want to do that to myself. I don't want to like begin to lose myself and become out of touch with, who I really am.
And what you really need and want.
Right. What I really need and want, which are good things. Mm-hmm.
And so that's a really important piece is that when you're in something and it's feeling like you have to mute who you are, what you want, or what you need to avoid perceived conflict, then that's a mirror, right, of what the behavior pattern is that ultimately gets in the way of you solving all your relationship problems. I had a guest on a few weeks ago, Andy Horning, who's a relationship counselor, and he quoted this study from the Gottman Institute. And I don't know if you listened to this episode, but 69% of all problems in relationships are unsolvable. So, yeah, 69%. So what that means is that you're going to have 69% of your time in challenges, right? And so what I really want to presence to you is it wasn't even necessarily the problem that was the problem. It was what I'm hearing you say is that how you solve problems was the problem.
Okay.
So tell me about that. So, because you said we had values differences. So if you were going to look at which of those core values that's really important to you that was missing in how you solved problems or had difficult conversations, what value was missing?
The value for honest, open dialogue.
Great. That's super clear. So in then your experience of him over, it was 15 months, right?
It was, 19 months.
19 months. Okay.
Yeah.
So in your experience of him, when you look at that value, how did he show up?
He didn't. How did he show up? He showed up in denial. Like he would not express if he felt conflict or if he was frustrated, or if I did, he would want to try to figure out how to make it better and then act like everything was fine.
So he had a pattern of avoidance.
Very much so. Yes.
Okay. So here's what's really key for you, because I know you said I want to stay in what's true for me, right? That was one of the outcomes you wanted from our conversation. So you have a core value of honesty and open communication. It's a deal breaker for you.
Yes.
And you're in relationship with someone who has a pattern of avoidance, right? So you're setting yourself up to constantly be disappointed.
Yeah.
Right? Because, and when we coach people, we say, you got to have 5 non-negotiables. They're 5 deal breakers because they're 5 fights you're never going to have. And they're 5 foundation pieces that will help you get through that 69%. Right? So this is an absolute deal breaker for you. Honest, open communication. That has to be important to you. And you're with somebody who's avoidant. And because they're missing that core value of open and honest, they're not able to even look at the pattern to move it out of the way of your relationship. Does that make sense?
Totally. Yep.
So when you're avoidant, it shows up as not only avoiding the topic, but then avoiding taking responsibility. So when he didn't take responsibility, how did that make you feel?
It made me feel incredibly frustrated and confused because I value taking responsibility. And like probably most of the women that you talk to, I probably take too much responsibility. And so I try to really figure out what's mine to take and what's the other person's. And I felt like I was having to take all the responsibility if we were going to, be able to move forward at all.
Awesome. That's really clear. Okay. So number 3, there's another issue that really comes up in relationship that is a byproduct of the pain around not taking responsibility. And that is that when someone says something with a certain intention, it makes an impact on us, right? So when you would say, hey, this is bothering me and I want to talk about it, and he would say his response, what typically happened? Like, did he get defensive about it? Like, what was that pattern for you guys as a couple when you would have these conversations?
Yeah, well, for the longest time up until, most recent, it was, I I felt like he first was defensive. He would feel like I was saying he was bad, even though I tried to make a shit sandwich and say, I love this about you, but do this, I feel such and such. And what I would prefer is this. It's like using all the tools. Yeah. But he would feel defensive. And I would try to say, try to explain, like, I'm not telling you that you're bad. This is how I'm feeling about it. And then we'd have to talk about what empathy was. And then I'd have to tell him how to have empathy. And then usually he would come back and like after he'd take some time to think about it, and he would say, okay, I understand what you were saying, and I'm going to try to do this better, which was comforting. But then more recently I felt like I was getting stonewalled. A couple of times he even hung up the phone on me.
Okay. So the pattern is, Erin says how she feels. He gets defensive, throws it back on you. You try to coach, educate, teach. He acknowledges, says he's going to do something different. It doesn't change. Problem comes back. Same pattern.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So here's two things that are missing. Number one is when he has an intention of what he's saying that makes you feel that you're not justified, right? When he's defensive.
Yes.
The other reason why it's important that someone takes responsibility is because we have to be aware of how what we say impacts the person we're talking to.
Yeah.
Right? So he was missing the empathy piece, right? Like, and most people, when they are defensive, men and women, but let's just make it be about relationship. And actually, my husband's been working on this a lot himself. So I just want you to understand that these are things that people work through. I want to normalize that. But it's like when someone gives you feedback or tells you that they're hurting, most people get defensive because, and I'm smiling because you said, I hate feeling pain. Because they hate feeling pain. He doesn't want to feel bad.
Yeah.
So to mask his guilt and feelings of pain that he's doing something wrong, right? He pushes it back on you.
Yeah.
Or he tries to come up with a strategy. Either way, guess what's missing, Erin?
Taking responsibility and empathy.
Which feelings? Feelings are missing.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, can I coach you a little bit?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So my intention for you is to get through this and then up level to attract like your guy, right? Your best guy. So I always say, sometimes we're attracting people into our lives because there's these lessons that we need to learn. And so this guy's what you're, telling me, basic info, little unavailable emotionally, right?
Yep.
And you told me at the beginning of the call, I hate feeling pain. I hate feeling feelings.
Yeah. I like feeling the good ones.
Yeah. So here's what's missing from that little cycle that you guys had. He would get defensive. You would go into coaching, teaching, fixing. Your feelings also weren't part of the equation. You guys skipped the feelings and went right into strategy.
Okay.
So if you were going to rewrite that vicious cycle, let's call it like a virtuous cycle, right? This is your ideal. This is the man that you want to be with. So you're having a challenge. Like, what's a challenge that you guys had that maybe you would bring up and this pattern would unfold?
So if I thought, we had communicated about when we were going to spend time together, and I'm planning on it, and then I hear from him that he didn't actually think that we made a plan. And so I can't be upset with him because we never had a plan. And I would say, but okay, we're in a relationship. Like, we don't have to have some, like something on the calendar. Like, anyway, I would feel like he was saying, nope, gonna have Scott time. You're not important. And then, we would go down our
rabbit hole. Okay. So let's do emotionally available Erin and emotionally available guy.
Okay.
Okay. So if we're going to role play this and it's like, you tell me, I'll be the guy. No, how can we do this? So I'll be you. Okay. So I'm going to model what I want you to do.
Okay, great.
Okay. So I'm really excited to see you, and I want to know what is up this weekend. I'm super excited to spend time with you.
Oh, well, that sounds great. Do we have a plan?
So here's the thing. I don't think we have a plan, and I have some working out I want to do, and I have some friends I want to see, but my most important priority is connecting with you. So I'm free Saturday night and Sunday afternoon. What works for you?
I would love to do Saturday night with you.
Okay, great. So that was an easy one, right? Like he totally heard and went down the right road. So let's say I want to do this again, where somebody's not meeting your needs, where he's doing the why do we need to do a plan? Because I want you to see how this is modeled, and I want everyone else to understand that even when someone isn't following the rules, you were like the best boyfriend in that scenario, right?
I thought I was supposed to be emotionally available man.
Yeah, exactly, right? And what's crazy is that's what it's like with our clients, right? They're like, oh, it was so easy. That was weird. So I want you to understand what it looks like to be in a conflict where you're taking responsibility, you're living your value of open and honest communication, and that your ultimate relationship goal is to a commitment, right? You're committed. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's do it again, and you kind of be your ex-boyfriend.
Okay.
Okay. So, hey, I'm super excited to see you. What's our plan for the weekend?
Oh, I didn't think we had a plan.
Oh, I'm super confused. I don't understand.
We didn't put anything, on the calendar, and I have, I've got to do some yard work, and I need to run over to Home Depot, and I'm really feeling kind of tired because I had such a long work week. And, we didn't really have a plan. So I just thought I'd be hanging out at home.
I totally get it. So it sounds like you have a lot of stuff on your plate right now, huh?
Yeah, I do. I feel kind of overwhelmed.
I get that. It's like whatever it is that we're doing right now in this part of a relationship, we both have a lot of stuff going on. So let's just put it in context. So just confirm for me, what's our common desire, our common goal, in terms of the weekend about spending time together? What's important to you overall, big picture, so that we can continue to build our connection and all of that? What is it that you're ultimately would like to have happen? What's the outcome that'd be your best case scenario?
Well, I would really want to spend as much time with you as possible on, Friday night and Saturday. But Sundays, I feel like I just get overwhelmed because I start thinking about the upcoming week. And I just need to be sure I have plenty of time at home to relax and enjoy the end of my weekend.
That's so cool. So what I hear is you're totally overwhelmed when you start to feel reality crushing in on our romance time.
Yes, I don't. I love to have our time together.
I totally get it. So here's what's going on for me. Sometimes I feel like I get just scared, that it's you don't want to spend time with me. But what I hear is that that's kind of a story I was making up. And really, it's just that you want to make sure Sunday you can do your own thing. With that, it sounds like that would work for both of us.
Yes, I'm so relieved to hear you say that.
Totally. That's so great. So that works out for me too on Sunday, because then I can work out and I can go have brunch with my friends. So, so what I'd prefer is if we have dinner Friday night and we'll do our sleepover thing. And then, so do you think we should do a sleepover on Saturday night too? Or what do you prefer?
I think probably one sleepover so I can be sure to get all my adequate sleep.
That sounds great. That's awesome. That works out really, really well for me. So my expectation is then on Saturday night, we could figure out something to do. You plan it, because that makes me feel really special and important. I'm old fashioned like that. And then after dinner, we'll just kind of play it by ear, but let's just both agree that we're going to sleep at our own homes. So does that work?
Yeah, that works for me.
I love that. And you know what? I'm really so grateful that you just told me about that Sunday night overwhelm thing, because it's really important for us to share how I feel and you feel. And I just really appreciate that honesty, because that's really important to me.
You bet, babe.
All right. So how is that different from any conversation you had with your ex?
Oh, it's totally different.
Tell me what was different.
So, yeah, I would get really overwhelmed with my feeling of pain. I would feel, because I knew that typically we would make every effort to spend most of our free time together. And so I would have an expectation of, making, I knew that we'd both be free. And so we'd want to spend this time together. And when he would say something like, no, I didn't think we had a plan, or, it would come across like it just hurt. And I would feel, I'd go into like shame regression, and I'd feel hot, and I'd feel like he's saying you're not important to me. And then I would clam up. I couldn't find my right words. I would try to say something like, I'm not understanding. I thought, we always try to spend time together, but yeah, I couldn't come out of it and just say, I didn't empathize with him. I didn't even know how. I didn't even know like what he was actually feeling, probably because I didn't ask. So yeah, the just saying, oh, I totally get that. We both have a lot going on. So tell me what would be ideal for you.
And what I want to point out there, Erin, is I didn't say like, I'll do whatever you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, right.
It's like, because I have my stuff going on too. And, this is about you not playing small, right? So in the context of that relationship conversation, right, it's really about two things. One is, and I'm going to be probably hammering on this for a while, is to really make sure that whether it's with a friend or a colleague or a boyfriend, that we really connect to shared values or shared common desire. And that's what you needed to hear, right? Was like, wait, no, I do want to spend time with you, and you are important.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right? Like, so look, it's the weekend. Like, what is your outcome? What would be great for you? What would be great for me? Okay, well, what are the facts? I have a lot of stuff going on Sundays, and I get overwhelmed. And then you have a curiosity conversation around feelings. What are his? Where are they coming from? How could I support you? Well, here's how it makes me feel. Right? And then go into the strategy. And what most people do is they are like, feelings, right? And I love that you're trying to teach him about empathy, but you're not being empathetic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's sort of what and I'll also presence you to like, it's not, you can't do all the work in the relationship.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I really want you to understand that we're not just saying this relationship didn't work out because, it's Erin's fault. She didn't do, like, she stayed in the vicious cycle. That's not what we're saying. What I'm really wanting you to be clear on is that it all goes back to those darn non-negotiables, right? And that there's two that are missing. One is that you're missing this common value on open communication, and dialogue, right?
Yep.
So without that, and he's not wanting to be better at it. So what you're saying is like, you know what? I could totally be better at this.
Right.
Right. Like, I get that I'm shutting down. You're taking responsibility, right?
Yeah.
Right. And he wasn't stepping into that. He was like, stop making up a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like, why are you even asking me that question?
Yep.
So there's not that same core value. There's not taking responsibility. And the third thing is, which we haven't talked about yet, is common relationship goals. So going into this, did you check in with him about his relationship goals?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So what I did was, so he told me on like our second date, that he valued marriage and like what it was that he valued about it. And I was like, whoa, this sounds good. And then, by around date, like month 4, I thought I had a little bit of a gut feeling that we might not be on the same page. So I thought maybe I haven't been clear enough for my own self. So I put it out there and I said, I just want you to know that like my purpose for dating you is to see if we make a good match for marriage, because that's ultimately what I want. I want to have a life partner, and I want to have that family unit. And he sort of like deflected and was like, "Oh, it's at month 4. Is it time to start talking about marriage now?" And I was like, "No, but I do want to make sure that we're on the same page about it." And he said, "Well, my philosophy has always sort of been like date for a year. And if all of that goes really well, then start thinking about talking about marriage." And so I thought, oh, okay, yeah, I could do that. So just sort of like put it over to the side, really enjoyed dating him, really looked at what we had in common and what our time was like together. And then around, 1 year, I brought it up again. And he said, "Well, I've been thinking I've never dated anybody for 2 years. I wonder what that would be like." And I was like, okay, but let's talk about how we are going to be progressing. Like, how do we deepen our relationship? How do we bring up what we may, what concerns we may have? And like, how do we do this together? And he was like, "I don't even know what you mean by that." And then he did tell me after a while, he said, "You're really focused on growth in a relationship. And I realized that I'm really focused on keeping it stable. Like my boat has rocked so much throughout my whole life that I just want to keep it from rocking." I was like, oh.
So there is the nutshell: avoidance. Avoid the conversation at 4 months, avoid it at a year, avoid it at 2 years, avoid any kind of conflict.
Yeah. Yep.
So his boat is on denial, as they say. Like,
oh, good one.
yeah, right? Like he's like, "No, that's not happening. Let's just stay on this boat on the river of denial." And so I want you to really be clear on this. Like, if I were to say to you, Erin, like standing in your truth and your vision, why is this not a good match for you? Why is this? It's like, look, those cabinets, someone else could totally refinish those cabinets and make them work, right? There's somebody else's cabinets. They're not mine. This guy is not a bad guy. There's some other person who's like, "I just want stability. I just want to be roommates.
Yeah.
I just like, that's the life I want."
Right.
Why is he not your guy? What's your takeaway from this conversation today?
Yeah, I think how I know he's not my guy and what my takeaway is that I have this strong desire for growth. And I don't think that we can have growth in a relationship if we're not able to talk through conflict. And my drive toward that was pushing this one away. And I want somebody who's pursuing that with me.
I love that. And the other piece is like, you have a very clear relationship goal, and he had a let's see how it goes goal. Right? So there's different relationship goals, different values that show up in not taking responsibility, a lack of emotional intelligence, and a desire to become more intelligent emotionally, right? And then the big picture of avoiding. And when 69% of the problems a couple has are unresolvable and you avoid it, you better believe it's going to leak into that other 30%. And so the blessing is that, you decided to, do the demo.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you were going to say, what did I learn from this? And now, because I think I don't want you to miss out on this piece. Like, you attracted this person who's emotionally available and you're super excited to talk about growth and emotions and feelings, but you're not a fan of them either. So you brought someone into your life who is happy to not have them, but your desire for connection is getting in the way. Right? So you can't have this, you have a very clear desire for real intimacy. You can't have intimacy when you're avoiding feelings. So what did you learn, and what's your next growth edge? What do you need to do?
Yeah. Well, I'm super grateful that, you brought it up, because I just had been thinking how do I keep getting here? There's got to be something. And so it's this, this thing in me that kind of crumbles or shuts down or, hates the pain feelings. And then I'm unable to be myself in the pain. That tells me that, I don't know how to get better at that, but I guess with practice.
Well, yeah, I think two things are really important. One is that you value growth, right? So you're you reached an edge with this guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you see the very thing that is wrong with him is what's holding you back. He had a whole bunch of other reasons, but you're on that upward spiral. He's not. So in order to really attract that kind of guy, your job, right, your homework, so to speak, is to really understand and make friends with feelings, right?
Yeah.
With all feelings. Because, I think Brene Brown says she says it so well, you can't choose which feelings you're going to have, right? You can't say I'm just going to mute bad feelings and only feel joy and happiness, right? There is no button that does that. I always say with my clients, if you're going to do this work with me, you got to raise your hand and take the oath. I hereby solemnly swear to feel all my feelings, including but not limited to disappointment, heartache, joy, all of them.
Yeah.
Because that's the real of a relationship, of an intimate relationship, and also any relationship.
So then how do you do that?
That is the $1 million question. I think the first thing that I really would say for your homework is this. I want you to, and this is for everyone listening, and this is an important piece, Erin, so I'm really glad you brought it up for everyone who's listening. It's so easy to be in a relationship and be like, he was wrong. He didn't do this. He didn't do that. He made me feel like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you told this story to any of your friends, values, not taking responsibility, avoidant, right? It's like, yeah, see, it was him, right? And you just walk away and you just do it over again, rinse and repeat. So for people who are listening, I just really want you to admire and sing praises to Erin, because she's going, and that was dysfunctionally perfect for me. So I need to fix that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So this is awesome, because your first line of correcting this is to start, I think Mary Morrissey is the first person I heard say it, noticing what you're noticing. Meaning when you feel that thing in your body of pain, 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 I hate this.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to sit through it. Even if you say, I'm having a lot of feelings right now and I need to process that. So when you say I don't know, do we have a plan? Or why do we need a plan? I hear you and stuff's happening. So I'm going to call you back in 10 minutes.
Okay.
And then you can get curious about it. What's really going on? Is this my shit? Is this his shit? Where's it coming from? What are the facts? What do I want? What do I need? How can I articulate it? Do I need to be empathetic? What's the common desire?
Yeah.
But the first thing is, I want you to start noticing all the places in your life where you're avoiding feelings.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep, totally.
Awesome. So if you were going to say anything to that little girl part of you, that little part who's hurt and scared and sad, because here's the thing, a relationship can be messy and not right for us, but we still are sad when it's over.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if you could be self-compassionate and assure that part of you who's sad, and not make it be about making it the wrong decision, but just acknowledging that you were with this person for 18 months, 19 months, it's a long time. What does she need to hear from you right now?
Oh, I think she needs to hear that she's lovable just as she is, and that she doesn't have to be perfect to have love, and that growing is valuable and she can be loved while in the growth process.
I love that. Because what's really beautiful about that is you really connected to that core value you have. And you're like, it's okay. This is what we signed up for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And it is hard and you are lovable and it's okay to feel sad. It's appropriate. And that's what's really important. Like for you in this process of this breakup, you know, the worst thing you could do is like just get over it, sweep up your feet, tell yourself what a jerk he was, you know, all of that kind of stuff, or how mad he made you, or need to be right about it. It's more important for you that is to start practicing going, oh, I'm sad. Oh, I'm mad. Oh, I'm scared.
Yeah.
Right? If this guy was put into your life so that you could start feeling your feelings and you get to feel them for the rest of your life, then he is the biggest blessing you could have ever had.
Yes, I can see that. So are you telling me that it is possible to feel pain and be okay?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know.
Right? Because our brains are like meaning making machines. So what we do, which isn't helpful, is when we're in pain, we make up a story about it. I'm bad. He's a jerk. It's never going to we assign a story. But what's really important is just look at the facts. The facts are I gave my heart to someone for 19 months. He knew me. We spent time together. It was fun to have a companion. It's fun to have a boyfriend. That's missing. I'm sad.
Yeah.
Right? Or I'm mad. Like, I'm mad that blah, blah, blah. You can even be frustrated that at 4 months, you know, you did this, but it's okay because you got to learn in those 4 months and have that great time. Like, you can feel your feelings. They're normal.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also this blessing in it. So that's your new paradigm. Feelings aren't bad, good. There is no good, there is no bad. That sounds so woo-woo, but it's true. It's just that they are. Yeah. They're there to give us information. They're just nothing other than like, if you could take the feeling out and just put it in front of you and just look at it and be like, oh, there's grief. That's interesting. What does it look like? What are the nuances of it? What is it here for? Right? It doesn't have to define you.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yes, makes sense.
You're awesome.
Definitely.
So you have your homework.
Oh, yes. I've got it written down. Mm-hmm.
Feel the feelings. You're going to love it. It's awesome. No, it is. Because here's the thing. Because when you feel feelings like that don't feel fun, then you're really opening yourself up, Erin, to really feel love in a completely different way and attract into your life a man who's capable of the same. And that's the reward.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm up for it.
Yay. Thank you for being here. You're so courageous. And I like to always, give blessing to the man who, without knowing it, came into the man laboratory and was dissected. So we bless you. Thank you for being here to teach Erin and everyone else who's listening. So send him lots of love, everybody. And ladies, the power is in understanding what makes you feel dignified, in what makes you feel whole and powerful. And so with that in mind, date with some damn dignity. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.